Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to discuss about the genres of professional writing. So basically, when we study about writing, we need to understand that we are talking about letter writing. So letter writing is an essential part of business. In spite of telephone, telex, and telegraphic communication, the writing of letters continues. Of course, this is very basic. In fact, most telephone and telegraph communications have to be confirmed in writing. So we need to keep in mind that effective business letter always communicates with a person first and a business second. So if your letter is a first time correspondence meaning communication between two persons or the exchanges of information through writing, and you do not know or are unsure of whom to address, do your best to find out. So addressing your letter to a person improves the likelihood of receiving a reply. It is perfectly acceptable to make a phone call asking for the name of a contact person. So basically, before writing a letter, you need to know the important details of the receiver of your correspondence. So you need to keep in mind some of these points. Number one, of course, you need to use a professional tone. So save casual, chatty language for email. Your printed business letter should be friendly but more professional. As Scott Ober suggests in his book Contemporary Business Communication, the business writer should strive for an overall tone that is confident, courteous, and sincere, that uses emphasis and subordination appropriately, that contains non-discriminatory language, that stresses the you attitude, and that is written at an appropriate level of difficulty. And that said, be sure to sound like yourself. You don't want your letter to read as if a machine wrote it. Like it should be more on a personal level. It should sound like a person talking to a person, not a machine talking to a person. Next point is you need to write clearly. Okay, you need to state your point early in your letter. So to avoid any miscommunications rather, use straightforward, concise language. Skip the industry. Sorry, you need to skip industry jargon and instead choose lively, active words to hold your reader's attention. When we speak about jargon, it is a language, or these are basically like a dialect or language specific to a particular discipline. Like for example, in the education, we use pedagogy, of which this is not common to the HM students because the HM students, like when you speak about cuisine, they understand what cuisine is all about. And when you speak about, like for example, cookery, that is more on the hospitality management students, not on the industrial technology students. That is what we call jargon. So we need to choose lively, active words to hold your reader's attention, not use passive words. Next point is that you need to organize your information logically. Group related information into separate paragraphs. So in a long information packed letter, consider organizing information into sections with subheads. You may want to highlight keywords to make them pop. This technique is possible with most words processing rather. This technique is possible with most word processing programs and your color multifunction printer. So again, organize information logically. You need to have a step-by-step process. Do not confuse your readers on what you want to convey to your message. So organize it step by step. Okay. Next, use color to emphasize words in text. So it is easy to put a few words in color to draw attention to them. Just select the type and click the arrow to the right of the font color button. Choose the color you want, then click the button or try highlighting a few words in the text. So this is what I do. I do not just highlight, but I italicize the words that I want to highlight so that because that is what I want my readers to know. And you need to select the type you want to emphasize. Next point is you need to be persuasive. Establish a positive relationship with your reader right away. If you have a connection to the reader you've met before or have a mutual colleague, for example, mention it in your introductory paragraph. Whether you think your reader will agree with the point of your letter or not, it is important to find common ground and build your case from there. And another is that you need to understand your reader well enough to anticipate how she or he will react when reading your letter. Address his or her needs or wishes or a specific problem, and then outline your solution. Then you need to provide proof in the way of examples and or expert opinions to back up your point, and make sure to maintain a friendly tone. Another point is that you need to conclude your letter with a call to action. You need to state clearly what your reader needs to do or believe to achieve the desired solution, and then state what you, the writer, intend to do next to follow up. And of course, lastly, you need to proofread your letter. All your careful crafting and printing can cover up spelling or punctuation errors, which leave a lasting negative impression. So again, you need to proofread, you need to read again, you need to polish your letter before you send you or deliver your letter to someone else. Because if there are errors, you cannot erase the errors anymore. So you need to be careful again. And now let's proceed to the main parts of a business letter. Again, the main parts. And I think we're aware that when we're still in the elementary level, we were taught on how to do this. A business letter is more formal than a personal letter. It should have a margin at least 1 inch on all four sides. Again, 1 inch all sides. It is always written on an 8 by half by 11, 8.5 by 11 rather. Okay. Again, it is always written on 8.5 by 11 or metric equivalent unlined stationery. There are 6 parts of a business letter. Again, 6. Number 1, heading. The heading contains the return address, usually 2 or 3 lines with a date in the last line. Sometimes it may be necessary to include a line after the address and before the date for a phone number, fax number, email, or something similar. Often, a line is skipped between the address and date. That should always be done if the heading is next to the left margin. It is not necessary to type the return address if you are using stationery with the return address already imprinted. Always include the date. Do not forget the date. Number 2 is the inside address. This is the address you are sending your letter to. Make it as complete as possible. Include titles and names if you know them. Next, this is always on the left margin. If an 8.5 by 11 paper is folded in thirds to fit in a standard 9 business envelope, the inside address can appear through the window in the envelope, but in most cases never. Sometimes we do not include inside address, but for formality's sake, we include that particular part. So an inside address also helps the recipient route the letter properly and can help should the envelope be damaged and the address becomes unreadable. So skip a line after the heading before the inside address. Skip another line, the inside address before the greeting. So later on, I'll be sharing to you how to make it. Okay, so next part is the greeting, also called the salutation. The greeting in a business letter is always formal. It normally begins with the word dear and always includes the person's last name. For example, dear Mr. Smith. Okay, so we'll continue. The next part of the letter is the body. The body is written as text. Business letter is never handwritten. Depending on the letter style you choose, paragraphs may be indented. Regardless of format, skip a line between paragraphs. So you need to drop a line so that you can start the next paragraph. So skip a line between the greeting and the body. Skip a line between the body and the close. Okay, the next is the complementary close. This short, polite closing ends with a comma. It is either at the left margin or its left edge is in the center, depending on the business letter style that you use. It begins at the same column the heading does. The block style is becoming more widely used because there is no indenting to bother with the whole letter. So it's all flush to the left when we speak about block style. Next, the signature line, the last part. Skip two lines unless you have unusually wide or narrow lines and type out the name to be signed. This is customarily including a middle initial but does not have to. Women may indicate how they wish to be addressed by placing Miss, Mrs. or Miss, small abbreviation for Miss, MS period, or similar title in parentheses before their names. So that is the source. And we will proceed to the types of business letters. These are the sales, the order, complaint, adjustment, inquiry, follow-up, letters of recommendation, acknowledgement, and letters of resignation, cover letters. So let's discuss them one by one. Sales letters. Typically, sales letters start off with a very strong statement to capture the interest of the reader. Since the purpose is to get the reader to do something, these letters include strong calls to action, detail the benefits of the reader of taking the action, and include information to help the reader to act, such as including a telephone number or website link. The next type is order letters. Order letters are sent by customers or consumers or businesses to a manufacturer, retailer, or wholesaler to order goods or services. These letters must contain specific information such as model number, name of the product, the quantity desired, and expected price. Payment is sometimes included with that letter. So basically, order letters are very common to government offices where they're going to like canvas uh, goods and services, and so they are going to make an order letter to a particular store or manufacturer or businesses. Complaint letters, the words and tone you choose to use in a letter complaining to a business may be the deciding factor on whether your complaint is satisfied. Be direct but tactful and always use a professional tone if you want the company to listen to you. Sometimes if you're not really satisfied with the services or the goods you received, you're going to write a complaint letter so that you will be attained immediately and you will be receiving the responses in a proper way. Next, adjustment letters are normally sent in response to a claim or complaint letter. If the adjustment is in the customer's favor, begin the letter with that news. If not, keep your tone factual and let the customer know that you understand the complaint. Okay, adjustment. Next, inquiry letters are letters are asking question or elicit information from the recipient. When composing this type of letter, keep it clear and succinct and list exactly what information you need. Be sure to include your contact information so that it is easy for the reader to respond. Next, follow-up letters are usually sent after some type of initial communication. So, like for example, kanaganing namoy gi sultian sa sagosa, then you are agreeing something, then you are going to make a follow-up letter to know what the whereabouts of what you have agreed upon or what you have communicated with the other person. Next, letters of recommendation. Prospective employers often ask job applicants for letters of recommendation before they hire them. This is very common. Like if you know someone and you are a strong candidate, you can actually ask for a letter of recommendation from that particular person. Next is acknowledgement letters. This is a letter which is serving as a simple receipt. Businesses send them to let others know that they have received or prior communication, but action may or may not have taken place. Next, letters of resignation is very common when you want to, work for that particular company anymore. You want to resign, and that is a resignation letter. Next, cover letter. It's very common.